Hello, the Ancestors Advocate once again. Video number 12. Dues in French. Kuminambili in Swahili. I'm really glad I came to video number 12 today. I really enjoyed making these videos. It's kind of like a relief for me because I was like, damn, I got to touch on all these topics. How am I going to do it? I'm glad I could do it. Um, I remember when my ancestors told me to get this job done. I was at the altar the night of. I think it's fair I can say the story. I've come this far. I should probably say a little something about how it all started. I was at the altar at night, and my ancestors were telling me that I should teach veneration, teach a course, let people know about this kind of stuff, and the to make it very comprehensive and touching so many different points as well. And even I think a week or two before, my friend from South Africa told me that her other friend was looking into this information because many black people from the diaspora, even from the continent, don't have any elders or mentors to sort of guide them when it comes to ancestor veneration. And they're lost, they're clueless, they don't know who to go to, what to look for, they're not sure if they're doing something right or wrong. So, and she knows that I talk about ancestors a lot, so she had asked me if I had any other videos about it, and I really did not. I had some posts on my Instagram, the Ancestors Advocate. I had a couple of posts where I talked about the ancestors, I talked about the importance of them, I remind people about them, but I didn't really have a comprehensive course to allow someone to understand the process from start to finish and everything in between and around it. I didn't have anything comprehensive and total that they could just go to and land on and get all the information at one place from me. I didn't have that. I'll just say all this information on YouTube. You can go here, you can go there, and find this information for yourself. But I didn't take initiative to actually supply that information as well from my standpoint or my platforms. So that night, the ancestors sat my ass down and told me that I need to get this shit done. Okay, and I was like, how? No one really listens to me. My channel has like very, very few views, 5, 6, 7, 10. Would people even listen to this? Because I've tried talking to a couple of my acquaintances about the ancestors and ancestor veneration, and they're like, it doesn't really hit. Really, it doesn't hit the right notes, or it sinks in, but the response is not always what I was hoping for. So I go to bed, right, processing all my excuses and all of my doubts and concerns. And the next day, I thought I would, be able to go into other activities of my day, but I couldn't. My mind was still heavily on this subject, and I had this energy, this very urgent, serious energy in me. It's hard to describe, but it's like I couldn't really sit down anywhere and relax. I couldn't sit down at a tree. I couldn't sit on a rock. I just couldn't be still and be chill. I just couldn't, because this work was waiting to be done, and the ancestors, they put an energy in me, they put a cause in me that had to come to its own effect. They planted a seed that was gonna grow whether you liked it or not. This was like the rose that grows out of concrete. The seed was gonna grow in me into a tree and bear some kind of fruit one way or another, regardless of whether people hear me or not, regardless of whether I got 3 views on my channel or whatever. Regardless, I had to hold the integrity to do it. I needed to hold the integrity to come out and do the work and just be, I kind of guess, the change I wanted to see. Be the explanation that I wished was out there. A comprehensive ancestor veneration video course. And I was also kind of debating whether I should charge for this or make it free as well. I was debating. But as I started making these videos, one thing that became clear was that I just had to do it, period. I just had to get it done first. Regardless of whether this is going to be a free thing or a paid thing, I just had to put it out there and make sure it's available. And reasons why I was debating making a paid thing was because of my time and energy. And three, and most importantly, I didn't want any irresponsible people dabbling into this kind of thing, taking advantage of the information, and then having an on-off attitude with their ancestors, not taking it seriously. When people pay money into something, they usually take it. They usually behave a lot more responsibly about it. Unfortunately, that's human nature, and that happens to be the case. So yeah, I was thinking about those kind of things, but eventually, I just had to do it. It just came to me doing it. Okay, now after that monologue, video number 12. I want to get into the topic of the Day of the Dead celebrations on November the 2nd and Africans and European holidays. African black people and European holidays, and their bondage to European holidays, actually. Excuse me. So, Day of the Dead celebrations are done in Mesoamerica, they're done in Mexico, however you're supposed to say it. And I love this celebration because it's a communal wide. The whole community does this thing where they celebrate and venerate their ancestors in a certain way. They take these, I think they're called marigold flowers, and they're decorated across the graves to all the way back to their homes as a spiritual land bridge for the ancestors to come down on and walk back. It's like, how we talked about how ancestors communicate to us in the doors of perception. This is a door of perception on a grand scale where you actually open a gateway for a whole community of ancestors of that community to come down and visit their beloved ones on earth. And people of that community, they cook food, give out sweets and all that. Like, it's beautiful. It's a day that's consecrated and put aside to welcome back the ancestors and celebrate a day or night with them. And I love it. And I love the fact that it's done yearly, and it's holiday, and it's done by the entire community. You have a community-wide Ancestor Veneration Day. And it's done during the time of the year when the veil is thin. When I say the veil is thin, for those who don't know, it's just that there's a time in the year within the cycle of the sun where the veil between the spiritual dimension, the physical dimension is thin. It doesn't take much energy for spirits to come in and interact within the physical dimension. And that's a good time because it's like, imagine it's inexpensive travel. Imagine you're trying to travel to some part of the world, and usually tickets are about $1,000. But imagine this one time of the year, tickets go down to like $50 or just $100. Now suddenly something that would be the price for one person, you can spend that on 10 people. So it's very efficient and very affordable energetically to go. So in this time of the year when the veil is thin, it's very affordable energetically and spiritually for ancestors to come through. They come through and we're ready to receive them communally. I love that other cultures are able to do this and still hold and carry out this tradition. Even I believe in China they have their own Day of the Dead. It's called by something else, another name, and the sentiments around it can be a bit different from how the Mesoamericans do it, and Mexicans do it. But I think they also do it in April, not November or that time of the year. They do it, I think, in April. Correct me if I'm mistaken, but I'm glad to know that they have their own celebration as well. And so coming to the black community, especially those who are outside of the African traditions and African, spiritual religions. Did I say African spiritual? Forgive me. Especially those who are outside of the African spiritual traditions, right? Which would be atheist or religious black people. There is no first of all, there is no consciousness of ancestors and ancestor veneration of a substantial level. When I say substantial, I'm regarding to, and that's perhaps not the best word, but I'm referring to everything that we're talking about within this course, right? This depth of information, this depth of involvement. So basically, And I speak from the point of view of the blacks because I'm melanin dominant myself. I don't even like to use the word black all the time because my hair is more or less black. I'm chocolate. I'm brown. But regardless, semantics. You know what I'm saying here. Yeah. So it's kind of sad that a lot of my people, and I could say a lot of our people, but my audience does not necessarily need to be black also, because people of other uh, levels of melanin can relate to what I'm saying anyway. So for that reason, I think I'm going to start saying my people. But even they could be your people, whatever. Let's stop making this all complicated. I tend to do this from time to time. So, my folks, my melanin dominant folks, have taken a lot of trauma. I've taken a huge beating and I've lost a lot of their traditions. Everything I said in this video course, you should be understanding what I mean by now. So it's what do I want to say? Yeah, it's quite a sad thing, and I didn't want to make this video to talk about how sad this is. I didn't really want to do that or get there. But sometimes I do feel sad when November the 2nd comes and I see all the Mexicans, they got this, that, and the Negroes, they still got Black Friday and Thanksgiving. Honoring a day that was the slaughter of the native people, and it's y'all feel my pain. Do you feel my pain? Do you feel my pain? Do you feel my concern? What to do. I honestly don't know what to do except for do what the hell my ancestors told me, which is to make this video series. I would like one day if, eventually even my folks on a much larger scale would participate in ancestor veneration on a communal level, collective level. That would do wonders. Also, the other thing to touch on is the African black people and bondage to European holidays. And I would even extend it to everyone else who's been affected and afflicted by colonization. Various forms of colonization and slavery. Right? Very tragic thing that happened. And one indication of still being psychologically bonded to those structures of belief that we were, squeezed into is that we still participate and honor and pay homage to those, so-called holy days. The Christmas, the Easter, the Thanksgiving. I'm not sure if Thanksgiving is religious. It kind of does have some religious undertones though. What else? I don't know what else. I'm not part of the church anymore, so I don't know. Y'all might have to fill me in if you guys are still, if anyone's watching this and still, in the limbo state, in the transitionary state. I shouldn't joke about this too much. But yeah. And what I'm saying here is so I don't even have to explain so much because it's so self-evident. It's so self-evident. This bondage to European holidays and not enough ancestrally driven holidays, right? Not enough true ancestrally driven holidays. Black people in North America have Kwanzaa, and that's as good as it gets. And I don't know how far back that one goes. But yeah, if you want to separate from a system, you gotta separate from rituals and ceremonies that are part of honoring and uplifting that system. I would call for a certain level of integrity, honestly. I'll call for a certain level of integrity, a certain level of cleansing. We do need to break away from certain customs, traditions, and rituals, ceremonies, holidays, whatever it is, belief systems and structures, when they were done when we were in a state of unawareness. it's not very helpful to continue doing and perpetuating things that were consecrated or established when we were in a state of unawareness as we are moving into higher and deeper awareness. You know, it doesn't make sense to keep dragging that old luggage behind us. That tends to really slow us down, stagnate us, stagnate the energy, stagnate the growth. And when you're carrying a lot, it's hard to climb. When you're light, it's easier to climb. You might even fly, you know. So I'm issuing a call for black people to let go of the luggage, let go of the luggage they no longer need, and to actually, like I said, everything else I said in this whole video course, learning about who you are, go and do some research. Actually, this part I may have not really said in this video course. This video course is specifically about ancestor veneration, not really the general theme of individual spiritual growth and development. Ancestor veneration can be a part of it, and it's very integral too, especially for example, before people go into African spiritual traditions, and like for example Ifa or the Palo or Candomblé, you know, and they have their pantheon of spirits and deities that they honor. Before going up to that level, usually you're told or advised to first deal on the level of the ancestors, you know, make it, address the ancestors first because they're first in line. Family is always first in line before, you know, you go beyond. It's kind of like before you deal with the spirits of nature, you got to deal with the spirits of your own household. You got, you know, you say, hi mom, hi dad, hi brother, hi sister, you know. What's more immediate to you is what's directly connected to your DNA, your flesh, your bloodline, right? Even though it's all one, but there's kind of like an unspoken protocol as well on a certain level, or you could just simply call it or refer to it as common courtesy, you know. To if you just bypass your immediate, you know, if you bypass the immediate representation, or they're not really representation. If you bypass the nature that is here for the nature that is over there, it's kind of like, well, are your eyes really open? It's like you're seeing the clouds and the blue sky, but you can't see the trees and you can't see the rocks. You know, it's like, is your eyes really open? So think about it on that level or in those terms. Okay, it's kind of like this is just the obvious thing to do. This is the obvious set of stairs, the obvious 1, 2, 3s to do. You know, your obvious ABCs. I kind of lost my train of thought. I forgot how I got on this tangent. Oh, ancestors, please let me know what I got to say before I end this video. So I think this is the last video. I think this is the last video. When I came to my ancestors after saying, okay, I'm going to do the job, I'm going to make this video series to teach people about how to venerate their ancestors, give them something comprehensive that touches on so many different topics and areas so that they are just ready to go. Boom. I had a list of 5 things. I made it myself. I was on my iPad, I like, tat, 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 tat. That's what my intellect could give me at that time. And then I went back to the Ancestor altar on another day and said, hey ancestors, here's what I got. My ancestors told me that's not enough. They need to know more. They need to know more. You know, and they helped me add 7 more. I came with 5. They were like, put this much more. Right? So like, okay. It was so hilarious. I was like, I thought, no, they really have to know this, and they really don't assume. Their approach with me was like, don't assume that people understand it or people got it like that, because maybe you went through the journey and the mistakes and you figured all this stuff out. Don't assume it's gonna be straightforward for everyone. Let them know. You know, break it down. Break down all the little parts. So that's what I had to do. I had to break down all of the little parts. And with my ancestors' help, I came with, the total of these 12 videos. They're about 10, 11, 12 that I had on paper. But yeah, pretty much everything I'm talking about right now, they wanted me to let you guys know. This was the most immediate, most relevant information that they informed me that you guys needed to know. And there's also some other things that I am still considering as far as veneration goes, or to be more specific with regards to uh, the situation in which people die. Some people die young. Some people die when they're still in their mother's womb, stillbirths. Um, some pass away when they're old, and because they have a certain level of life force in them, they can lead to different situations in the afterlife, so to speak. And there are certain idiosyncrasies with that as well. I like Adunola the Oracle because she also touches on those things very in depth and very comprehensively as well. And I love how she explains stuff. She makes things very clear and easy to follow. So I think I'm gonna leave a link to her channel below in the description so that you guys can scroll through her videos and kind of look for that information on your own as well. But yeah, this course is for the veneration of the ancestors. So for now I'm sticking to what was being given for me to say on that day when it came to the list of 5 and they added 7 more. Okay. Um, the significance of the Day of the Dead and this video I'm making also. Because for the most part, the first 11 videos have to do with one's personal relationship with the ancestors, right? But when enough of us do it, it can be a collective experience too. And that's when things like the Day of the Dead come through. And it does not necessarily have to be only on November the 2nd. You can, as a collective, as a family or group of families, have something done any other day of the year any other chosen day of the year to honor the ancestors and do something special for them. You do give some offerings, whatever, all the good stuff. So yeah, it doesn't just have to be the November the 2nd, but that Day of the Dead is a good example. And a good movie to even, enjoy this theme is Coco. The movie Coco, C-O-C-O, Coco. I love that movie because it explored the Mexican tradition of the Day of the Dead. And even the afterlife, kind of what, to a certain level that can be received in a movie like that, explain the afterlife scenario, right? They also touched on a certain concept that I won't go into it. I know I don't need to go into that concept right now. I'm just saying y'all can go watch Coco for some inspiration as well. Anyway, thank you very much for being a part of this journey and part of this video series. I'm happy if any of you have learned things. I've seen a couple of comments on some of these videos. I'm very encouraged that it's hit somebody's heart and it's leading to something positive. Yeah, that's been it. All the best to y'all and all the best to your ancestors. Take care.